It's Thursday, June 7th, 2018, and it's time for Van 10 on Sports. Because we've only been talking about video games a lot lately, so we're going to talk about some sports, and we're going to talk about the AAF. That's right, kind of been checking up on them. XFL, not a whole lot's happening with them yet. Granted, they're not playing till 2020. The AAF kind of has to go a little faster because they're going to start February 9th, 2019. Which means we're about, 8 months away from that? 7, 8 months away? That's a lot closer than you think. I mean, on June 9th, you're looking at, you're only looking at having July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. 8 months. 8 months to get back in there. So they've got to accelerate. I saw somebody kind of mentioning that the XFL is lagging way behind. They've got a little bit more time. They've got 1 year and 8 months to pull everything together. The AAF has now only 8 months to pull everything together. And they still only have 7 out of their 8 teams announced. So we're going to have 8 teams. We're going to play in 8 months. But we only know 7. We only know 7. And we don't even have logos. We don't have mascots. We don't have the names of the teams. And we have 7 out of the 8 cities confirmed. And I'm going to read off those cities real quick. The cities that are confirmed right now, as of June 7th, 2018, are Salt Lake City, San Diego, Phoenix, Memphis, Atlanta, Orlando, and one of them I actually predicted in a video, Birmingham. Yes! Birmingham, Alabama. And I'm still wanting the Birmingham Stallions to be their name because it'll go off the old USFL thing. No, none of them have a mascot. But it's just funny that Birmingham. Now there's still a team out west. So one of my 4 teams I picked for out west, like Vegas or San Antonio or one of those, could still come to fruition. But it looks like they are kind of doing it the way I said. They break it down with kind of an east area and a west area to kind of keep travel down a little bit. Because you got San Diego, Phoenix, and Salt Lake City, which are relatively close, especially San Diego and Phoenix. But if you put San Antonio in there, it might kind of throw it off. But if you put Sacramento in there, Sacramento could hit pretty good. Sacramento's just at the northern part. Even Portland would be good because that's just a little bit more north of Sacramento, and I think it's a little bit more north than Salt Lake City. But you could have those 4 teams over on the west side, and then you would still have, and I mean Memphis, Atlanta, Birmingham, and Orlando are all fairly close. If you're looking in a broad geographical sense, they're fairly close. Actually, they're hundreds of miles apart, but in a broad geographical sense, when you're talking about travel times in big cities and whatnot, they're relatively close. So we now know 7 of the 8 teams. We know that we're probably going to have our Western Conference is going to be Salt Lake City, San Diego, Phoenix, and a team to be named later. And the East will be Memphis, Atlanta, Birmingham, and Orlando. I'm not convinced on the Memphis, the Atlanta, the Phoenix, only because all of those cities, I mean, Tennessee, I don't know if they can really support another pro football franchise, but maybe they can. Who am I to say? These people that are doing this for a living, it looks like the AAF has a really good staff of people. I mean, they really do. If you look at some of the people that they have working for them, Charlie Ebersol, of course. Bill Polian, to me, is just a genius. You got people in there like McKay, who's pretty good. But Palomalu, Hines Ward, Jared Allen, Justin Tuck, all former NFL guys that are pretty sharp on the ball. So they probably know a lot more what they're talking about than I do. So maybe Memphis is perfect. Atlanta seems weird because Atlanta has the Falcons. So, but, it's a new league, so hopefully it succeeds. I don't want to see the AAF or the XFL not succeed. I would love to see these 2 leagues succeed. And if you look at some of the rules for the AAF, I love some of these rules. The no television timeouts thing, so it'll maybe take 30 minutes less to get through a football game. No extra points, only 2-point conversions. Yes, get rid of the kickers. No kickoffs. You start at the 25. Love that. Play clock is only 30 seconds, which means it's going to be a faster form of football. So, I mean, I love some of the stuff the AAF is doing. I really do. I cannot wait to see what they do as soon as the NFL season is over next year. Here's a little thing that's a little worrisome. They're going to have a 10-game schedule, which will take them, I mean, if you think about it, 10 weeks. If you go February, you go March 9th, you go April 9th, relatively that's going to be 8 weeks. Then you're going to get into the end of April, which is about the time the NFL draft happens. And the NFL draft is a big deal. I don't want to see the AAF lose potential coverage for its playoffs because the NFL draft is sucking all of the football air out of the room. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping the AAF puts out a good enough product that we're still kind of tuned in. I know I just want it to be good, and I think it will be. I think the people that are doing this are sharp, and I think they're going to create a good football for us to watch. It may take a few weeks to get it really clicking, but I'm excited for it. Now let's look at some of the coaches that are confirmed for these 7 teams. Orlando, we already know, Steve Spurrier. He's been confirmed. He was the first one confirmed. His record, college, 228, 89, and 2. He wasn't so good with the Redskins at 12 and 20 in the pros. He was good in the USFL with the Tampa Bay Bandits. This kind of league could really benefit him because in Florida, when he won his national championship, he had a pretty high-powered offense. I think this will benefit Spurrier and the fast pace and everything. Spurrier could be very successful in this. Mike Martz is going to coach the San Diego team. He's 53 and 32 at the Rams. He won a Super Bowl as the offensive coordinator for the Greatest Show on Turf. Solid pick. I think he's a solid coach for the AAF. I like that the AAF has gotten a lot of pretty good named coaches. You're going to see this is a pretty good list. There are going to be some weak points, and this one's a little bit of a weak point. Rick Neuheisel, he's going to coach the Phoenix team. With the Buffs, he was 33 and 14. He coached the CU Buffs. I remember he took over for McCartney, who was a legend here, and he kind of had this attitude of, I want to be the player's best friend, and wasn't real big on discipline and the team. His best record was the team that basically McCartney built, and then he kind of faltered after that. Neuheisel he was too much. He was just young. I mean, he was 34 when he took over the job, so I think he was just too young. But he was okay for the Buffs, but there were high expectations because of what McCartney built. And he didn't quite live up to them. Not in our eyes, anyway. He coached the Washington Huskies, 33 and 16, roughly the same record that he had with the Buffs. The Bruins, he was terrible, 21 and 29. He was 87 and 59 overall in college. He's been an offensive coordinator, a quarterbacks coach in the pros, I think. He's an okay. This may benefit him as well, this faster pace, because Neuheisel's an offensive guy. He played quarterback. Steve Spurrier also played quarterback. So, both these guys have played quarterback. Dennis Erickson is going to coach the Salt Lake City team. Dennis Erickson, you forget, this guy won 2 national championships with the University of Miami. The only thing is, a lot of people say, well, that was done on Jimmy Johnson's teams. Maybe the first one was in 89. Those might have been a lot of Jimmy Johnson's guys, but 91, I think, was Erickson's guys. So I think he did a really good job there. But listen to his coaching career. This is his head coaching career. Coaches at the University of Idaho, 1 season in Wyoming, coached Washington State, University of Miami, where he won his 2 national titles. Then he went to the Seattle Seahawks for about 5 years. Then he went to the Oregon State Beavers, San Francisco 49ers, went back to Idaho for a year, finished out his coaching career with Arizona State in 2011. Won 2 national championships, had 179 wins, 96 losses, and a tie as a college coach, and was 40 and 56 in the NFL. Solid coach. Like I said, solid coach. Mike Singletary is going to coach Memphis. I love Singletary. As a player and as a coach, I like Singletary. I always thought he should have gotten another chance. I love his intensity. I love his passion. And I'm hoping he succeeds in Memphis. I really am. Singletary was always one of my favorite middle linebackers of all time. And I would love to see. I liked how, I still like his attitude. He goes, I want players that want to win. He goes, I don't want I don't want people that are lackadaisical and don't want to give effort all the time, because Singletary was an effort guy all the time. So I really hope Singletary, his career's 18 and 22 with the San Francisco 49ers. And that's really his only head coaching experience, pro-wise or high up college. But I'm rooting for Singletary. I really am. I think Singletary can be a great coach if he's just given a chance to kind of do his thing. The Atlanta team will have Brad Childress, whose only head coaching experience is with the Minnesota Vikings for about 5 years, 39 and 35. Didn't win a Super Bowl, didn't get to a Super Bowl, but he was a pretty good offensive coach there. But once again, Brad Childress, Mike Singletary, Erickson, Martz, Spurrier, these are names. These are guys that have coached in the NFL. The only names that I would kind of go a little down on is Neuheisel, but he does have a lot of head coaching experience at the college level. And I think this fast-paced offense could benefit him. And the one, Birmingham, Tim Lewis is their coach. Tim Lewis was a cornerback. He was drafted in the 83 draft, the 11th pick overall. He was picked, I think, by the Packers. He got hurt early in his career. He only played like 3 or 4 seasons. Had 16 interceptions. He would have been probably a very, very good cornerback, but he got hurt and had to basically give up the rest of his career. Most of his coaching has been as DB coaches, defensive coordinators in small places, and this is going to be his first head coaching job. So somebody in Birmingham must be super impressed with this guy, and maybe he'll be the one to surprise us. Maybe Birmingham, because they're going to be the Stallions. I want them to be anyway. Maybe he'll win the first AAF championship, but Tim Lewis is the only one that I'm kind of questioning, but you probably can't get known NFL commodities at every level or known college commodities at every team. That would be kind of tough. I mean, I'm surprised they got Spurrier, Martz, Neuheisel, Erickson, Singletary, Childress. It's a good lineup of coaches. It really is. So I'm really excited to see who the 8th team is going to be, where they're going to be, and who their coach is going to be. And then I want them to start naming some of these teams. If they make those little mini helmets, those little tiny helmets that are only like usually $35 to $40 or something like that, the cheap plastic ones, but they're about that big, I may buy them for all the AAF and XFL teams, because it'll be a small collection. It won't have to be 32 teams. It'll just be 8. So it'll be easy to collect that. And it also depends if the helmets look cool. I mean, it's like if one of them just has a solid color helmet with one stripe down the center, it's like, come on, do something exciting. But, so what do you think about the coaching lineup so far? Who do you think the 8th city is going to be? It's probably going to be out west. But do you think it could be Sacramento, San Antonio, or Portland? These are some of the teams I named off, or some of the places that could be. I'm kind of rooting for San Antonio to get this franchise. That is a big market that never gets tapped real well except for the Spurs. So I'd really like to see San Antonio get it. But I'm still going to be super interested. Maybe Vegas. Vegas would be kind of fun to see one of these teams like AAF. I think they'd be more fun to be XFL again, to go back there. But, I'd like to see one of those: Vegas, Sacramento, Portland, or San Antonio. So, I mean, but who do you think? Who do you think the 8th coach should be? Who do you think's going to get it? Who's going to get the last team in the AAF? We're down to one golden ticket left. Well, it's probably more of a bronze ticket, because it's a tarnished bronze. No, it's not tarnished. It's just a nice bronze. It's a nice polished bronze. It's very nice. It's not the gold that, being in the NFL, but it's a nice little, it's heavy, it feels quality. And I think that's what the AAF is going to be. So with all that being said, to the troops, past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.